All right, our next speaker is going to talk about cloud video streaming without plugins. So welcome Gerald Zankl, the Director of Sales for EMEA from Bitmovin.
Yeah, hello and welcome. My name is Gerald. I'm happy to be here at Streaming Media East. And today I will give you a brief overview how you can achieve cloud video streaming without plugins. I'm Director of Sales from Bitmovin. Bitmovin is providing video infrastructure for the web, and I will now give you a detailed overview what today is planned. First, I will give you an overview about the current video streaming problems. So there are a lot of issues and problems out there, and we will briefly talk about these problems. And then we will hook directly into the main part of the presentation, how you can build your cloud video streaming infrastructure without plugins, and especially also with our services. Two sentences to Bitmovin. Bitmovin is focused on adaptive streaming in MPEG-Dash as well as HLS, and we are providing encoding services as well as an HTML5 video player, and we have also a booth here, free to free, so happy to step by also to the booth. Let me talk about video streaming in general. Everybody of you knows that symbol and knows that slide. And when I see that, it's a nightmare for me because buffering stresses me. And that's one of really the main problems in today's online video infrastructures, buffering. But buffering happens not only because of a bad internet technology. It happens mainly because of a bad implementation of a streaming infrastructure. So that's really one main problem we have to achieve. And the industry is losing money while buffering because you are losing money in lost subscriptions if you are a VOD service, and also losing money in lost advertisements if you are earning money with ads. The second major problem is low quality. So if you deliver a quality which can't compete to services like Netflix or YouTube, you are losing customers. And with that problem, with the low quality, you can't increase your user base. And you see here the comparison on the left and right, for example, and obviously you want to have the quality which fits perfectly to you. Another big issue what we are seeing in the market is performance, and there especially startup time and startup delays. When you are thinking you are mobile watching videos mobile, for example, if you are waiting 2 or 3 seconds before the video starts, you will drop off. And the younger the users are, the more they are dropping off because they won't wait for a video to start. The video has to start immediately. And that's also one major problem nowadays in video infrastructures, the startup delay and the performance with players which are not starting and which are not playing the video immediately. Another big problem are plugins. And plugins like Flash, like Silverlight are already a lot deployed on websites out there. So the bad thing is Silverlight, Flash are still used on a lot of websites, especially when you are thinking about Silverlight, because Silverlight is in common with Smooth Streaming and PlayReady, for example, to protect the content out there. But you need a plugin to play Silverlight content. And Chrome dropped a plugin, for example, last year, and that's a pity then for all your Chrome users if you are still using some Silverlight plugins. The same with Flash. Flash is also not supported on every platform and dropping off of a lot of platforms. The good thing is there is a way around that, and that's HTML5. So with HTML5, you can replace Flash, you can replace Silverlight by using the media source extensions in the browser. And it's going in the right direction. So you see the good thing, the chart on your right, that websites which are using Flash are still going down. Let me sum up this. So these are the 4 major problems And you should think about and consider these major problems when implementing a video infrastructure and when implementing online video. But what is really the solution for these problems, and is there a solution out there to solve these problems? We of Bitmovin, we say yes. And the question is adaptive bitrate streaming with MPEG-Dash or HLS, is that the solution? And we say yes, but it heavily depends on the implementation, how you implement the standard of HLS or Dash. And important for us, it's what's really needed. So what are the different parts you need for a video streaming infrastructure to bring videos online in the quality which fits at the end for the end user? And our approach is here to have a managed video streaming solution within the cloud. And the main benefits to move really to the cloud and deploy your video infrastructure within the cloud is that you are scalable. You are ready in minutes with our solution, for example. You need no plugins. That's heavily depending on the client, but with HTML5 you need no plugins. You can use pay-as-you-go models, because you need no infrastructure, you have no fixed costs, you are going for a lot of variable costs, and so you pay as you go. And the most important thing is that the service is managed. So you should have someone who takes care about that the videos are playing on every device and on every platform. And you can focus on your core business, which should be to generate money with the content or sell new subscriptions or sell advertisements or whatever this might be. And so how can a video infrastructure as a service look like, and what are the most important parts for a video infrastructure which can be deployed in the cloud? It starts all with your files at the end. So your files, for example, are already stored on public cloud infrastructure like AWS servers, Google, or on Microsoft servers. Here are the files stored. The original files, so that means the mezzanine files, MP4 files, whatever. The next step would be to convert these files into adaptive streaming, to get rid of buffering, to have the best possible quality for every device and every platform, for every resolution. That you can do with an encoding solution. An encoding solution which can be spinned up also in the same region where your files are located and where your files are stored, and in the same data center, for example, on AWS, Google, or whatever. The next important part is again the storage, where you store the encoded files. So the adaptive streaming files. Usually you store it in the same place where you are storing your RAW files. That makes sense then to store it also on AWS or Google, for example. You need a CDN to deliver and distribute the content worldwide. And one of the most important parts, if you are done the encoding, the storage, and the CDN, is a player. You need a player which works on every device and every platform, and which you can customize to your needs and especially to the needs of your end user. And last but not least, you should also have an analytics in place, and with this analytics you should ping back to your encoding, ping back to your player, and get some statistics out how you can improve the whole chain and continuously improve this infrastructure. And with these parts, you are ready, for example, for 360-degree and virtual reality streaming, because that's then just a layer on top all of that parts. And how can Bitmovin now help on these different parts and where we are now? To give you here an overview. So to get a little bit easier of that graphic, we are offering an encoding service which is fully based on the cloud and an HTML5 video player. So we started with really the two most important points. It's encoding to really generate out of mezzanine, MP4, and a lot of more files, Dash and HLS content. And with the player, an HTML5 player, to play these generated video files on every device and every platform. Main goal should be always to give your users the best possible quality and the best possible user experience that you can increase at the end your revenue. Let's look a little bit deeper in the encoding service and why we are thinking it's good to move into the cloud with an encoding service. Speed matters, and also time to market. And with our encoding service, we can encode content up to 100 times faster than real time. This means a 2-hour HD movie, for example, we can encode within 3 minutes to 5 bit rates, which means really low bit rates for smaller resolutions and also 3 to 5 megabit resolutions for full HD. We can achieve that because we are deployed in public cloud infrastructure, and we are splitting up videos and use more servers in the background to encode parts of that video file. Encryption and DRM is a hot topic, especially when it comes to a video on demand service, for example, where you have to protect Hollywood content. Here we are ready for that with Play Ready, Whitewine, Fairplay. So we are here supporting all major DRMs. A lot of people are asking us, what about HEVC? What about 4K? Can you encode HEVC in real time? Can you encode 4K in real time? Yes, we can. We can do it even faster than real time. We can do it 10 to 30 times faster than real time, because also here we are using the cloud and we're splitting up the video and balancing the load of our encoding process. As your encoding service is in the cloud, you need something to integrate. And we use here our API. We have a lot of API clients, and you should integrate it directly into your content management system, into your workflows, and that's easily done by the API, and you will not recognize that the service is deployed on a public cloud infrastructure. You think it's in your local data center. We can do it for VOD as well as for live, so we are making there no difference. And also, as mentioned, future use cases like virtual reality or 360-degree streaming are not a big deal for us, because we are using the same infrastructure, especially when it comes to encoding. It's just more data, but we have the same workflow in progress, and it's only more data which we are encoding. And the most important thing also when we are talking about failovers, for example, or outbreaks of public cloud infrastructure, we are cloud agnostic. So our system is built for multiple clouds, and usually we are deploying our service in that region and to that cloud where our customers are. Like if your assets are stored on AWS, we are deploying to AWS and can set up a failover cluster, for example, with GCP or also Microsoft. The second important part is the player. So if you are now generating the content, adaptive streaming content, you need a player which can play this adaptive streaming content, and which comes also with features to avoid buffering, to deliver the best possible quality, to have good startup times. And here our player is fully focused, as mentioned, on MPEG Dash as well as HLS for the newer platforms. So with the Firefox release or the Firefox update last year in November, so also Firefox is now supporting the media source extensions. So Chrome, Firefox, EA, Edge, every major browser now supports the media source extensions, and you can play with HTML5 and Dash and also HLS then content natively in the browser. You need no Flash plugin or Silverlight, but still we have a Flash plugin for older browsers and older platforms. Encryption and DRM is also a hot topic on the player side. And when you think about it, or a lot of people think it's complicated to protect the content, especially when it comes to Hollywood content. But it's not that complicated, because with the browsers and the EME within the browsers, you can go also here with Dash, HTML5, and DRM systems out there like Whitewine and Play Ready. You can use these services natively in the browser. So there is also no additional need for some plugins to protect your content these days. As mentioned, very low startup delay is for us one of the most important things. There is also a patented logic on the buffer algorithm. And to monetize the content, in addition to DRM, we are also supporting ads, and here mainly with VAST. And as mentioned, we also implemented VR and 360-degree video streaming in our player so that you can play videos on a Samsung Gear, for example, with that player in HTML5. So the most important question for you probably now is how you can start with that and how you can get these parts and try that, for example, easily out. Therefore, I have a case study here ready. Flimit is a video-on-demand portal similar to Netflix and also offering a huge catalog of video files. And Flimit, for example, is using our video infrastructure, the encoding, as well as the player. And what Flimit is using exactly, you can see here on that slide. As mentioned, these are the most important parts to build a video-on-demand portal, an OTT platform, a video infrastructure on the web. And we can come up on Flimit, for example, we are doing the encoding. The video files, the original video files, as well as the encoded video files are stored on AWS servers in Europe. And here we grab the files, encode it, and store the Dash as well as HLS encoded files back to the AWS server. As CDN, they are at the moment using Akamai, and as our player, or as their player, they are using our HTML5 adaptive streaming player. And they have a custom analytics tool also in use, and here they are getting out with our API of the player custom events and write that to their analytics backend and report the analytics data out of that. The most important thing for you here is that this architecture is always depending on your individual use case. There is for sure some good points, some bad points to go for that cloud storage or for that cloud storage. But that makes no sense for us because we are, as mentioned, cloud agnostic. And also from a CDN perspective, here it's Akamai, but that can be every CDN. Because what we are doing is here, between every layer, we have APIs. And we are working together with these APIs. And so we can use each segment here for the individual use case. What was important for Flimit? The time to market as well as the playback on all platforms. That was here the most important, or the two most important points. And the time to market we achieved with our cloud encoding service. That makes it possible to bring the content online as fast as possible. To sum up that showcase and why is Flimit using Bitmovin's encoding service. A main factor was the speed of our encoding service. So they get the video assets, they bought the video assets, and then they want to get the video assets online as fast as possible. And we encoded 5,000 video assets within a few days because we spinned up server instances in the cloud and stored then the instances back, the video assets back. The easy integration via API because they have already a content management system in place and want to integrate the encoding service directly to that content management system. The costs for sure was a major point because they want not to buy hardware encoders and have these hardware encoders in-house. So especially for the first load of these 5,000 video assets, they did it with us, and it was a flexible pay-as-you-go model. And for sure, they won't be ready for future technologies like HEVC, 4K, and that's also here where they are ready. And also on the HTML5 player side, as mentioned here, HTML5 makes it possible to avoid buffering, get best startup times. And here, Flimit used our adaptive streaming player because we are supporting Dash HLS with HTML5 and also then with DRM natively in the browser. And for sure, we have the Flash fallback for older browsers. So finally to say, managed cloud video streaming without plugins is not that big deal as it seems like. And with the right parts and stitching these right parts together, it's really easy to build that service. You can try that by your own. So you can easily sign up at bitmovin.com. You can try the encoding service, you can try the player, you can try both together, and you find also on our website all the latest resources. And we are also happy to welcome you at our booth, so the booth is directly that way. booth number 323. So we are happy here to answer any questions. And also here, if you have any question, just ask, feel free. And thank you very much for your attention.
Any questions for Gerald? I'll bring the mic up.
Hi, Gerald. I'm curious about your speeds for encoding. You talked about what sounds like a massively parallel architecture to do it. So you break up the video into pieces, farm it out to the different locations, and then you have to pull it all back together again. I'm assuming you have some kind of business model that allows you, like, how do you do that? Is that capacity available to anybody, or do you offer it based on different service levels?
Yeah. Usually, to achieve, for example, the 100 times faster than real time, so encode a 2-hour HD movie in 1 minute, for example, that we have special SLAs and a special service level, which we not enable for every customer. Usually, we enable it for our enterprise customer where it's really necessary. But we achieve also in the public portal, and you can try that on the website. So we can achieve, it depends always a little bit on the workload of the whole system, but speeds between 10 and 40 times faster than real time, everyone in this room can try out with the public portal. So, and for sure it depends always a little bit on the length of the video. With longer video files we are faster and can work that better out, and with shorter files we are even a little bit not that fast. So that's more or less, but yeah, we have different service levels for sure, but for public available 10 to 40 times faster than real-time encoding.
Any other questions?
Do you have any integration with providers like the platform?
Not yet, but yeah, we were also trying to get into their platform because it's with the API integration, it's easy to do, yeah, but not yet an integration.
Okay, it's actually time for our break. As Gerald said, if you have any more questions, they are at booth 323.